Hey everybody, this is Keith Gleason, host of Indie Comics Relay, creator of the Mighty Mascots, and the promoter for Plastic City Comic Con. And I'm here with an IC3 recap video. Before I get into that, just want to remind everybody that Mighty Mascots 10 still in demand on Indiegogo. We just got the finished cover, this second cover this week for the variant by Angry Dad Comics. Just going to show that to you real quick. We added it to the campaign here. So cartoony, and I love the colors on it. So if you haven't backed the campaigns, check out both of these awesome variant covers. This one by Angry Dad Comics, this one by Gazbot, and then we got the backup stories. There's so much going on with this campaign, so check it out. Still in demand on Indiegogo. Also, reminder: Plastic City Comic Con coming up Saturday, August 23rd. Starting to book a ton of guests for this. As you can see, the guest list is getting longer and longer. So we're getting there. We're almost sold out. Probably within the next month, I'll have everything wrapped up and we'll be ready to go for August. So check that out as well. $10, comic focus, and right up your alley. All right, so this is the recap video for Indie Comics Creator Con, which is also referred to as IC3. And we were there last weekend, me, Johnny, my wife, Amy, and a bunch of other fans that we do know from other conventions, other fans, and also creators, which we know from a lot of other conventions and from the show specifically, which is great. But I just want to talk about this convention is because it's very unique. It's very, I guess, I mean, there's other shows like it. There's like Mice, there's SPX, but there's very few of these shows across the country. And it was great that we have a couple in our backyard, specifically Mice and this new one, IC3. And these are honestly my favorite shows to vend at. I leave them with so much inspiration and creativity, and I just want to make more and more comics after I attend a show like this for the weekend. So for that, I really love. And not to say I don't love other conventions, Comic Cons, but these ones are special because they do focus specifically on indie comics, which is our bread and butter, let's face it. So a lot of it's the second year for this show, and a little history on it. The show is run by a gentleman named Matt Sardo, who was on our channel maybe about 2 or 3 months ago promoting the show. If you haven't checked that video out, it's on the live tab on our YouTube page. Check it out. Great guy. He also teamed up with a entity called Art Comic Fans, and I guess they're going to just, I don't know if they're going to be involved with future shows or not, but I think that's really cool. They got some backing there. So it was at a college campus in Connecticut, Southern Connecticut State University, to be more exact. I guess that was the only problem we had this weekend. It was a little interesting trying to navigate where to go on Friday, because we arrived Friday early to do setup, and they had a window from like 12 to 3. So I'm glad we did that so we could find where we were supposed to park and find the area. So it was in like their recreation room, or the student center, I think they called it. And it was a really big room, comparable to like a big ballroom at like a hotel. And then they also had this long hallway that meets up with the wall room, but also along the hallway were these small breakout rooms, kind of similar. If you've been to Plastic City, last year at the hotel, we had these small rooms that are off the main hallway, very similar to that. And there was about 5 or 6 of those, and then they had creators all in the hallway, and then the rooms, and then the big room. And we were in the big room. Johnny C was in the hallway, like right when you came in. He was like probably the first table you would see. But there was also creators outside the hall in the main room as well. So yeah, there was a lot. I'd say there was probably about 160 creators or something like that. And actually, no, it looks like according to their website, it was like 175 plus creators. That's amazing. And everybody was an indie creator. There was nothing else there but indie creators, which is why this show is unique. And they had a couple of high-end indie guys like Jim Rugg and Tom Scioli and Dean Haspel, which we got to know Dean over the weekend, which is great. We might have him up to Plastic City. I gotta talk to him a little further and see if we can work that out, which would be awesome. But we got to know him the night before, which I'll talk about in a second. But the vibe of this show, if you're a creator, I can't imagine you wouldn't love this show. And just everybody there was looking for content, looking for comics, and yeah, it was really good. They had a great crowd too. I would say maybe somewhere in the ballpark of the 500 to 1,000 kind of number, for numbers. I could be wrong about that, but that's what it felt like to me just throughout the day. I'm looking forward to updates from the show later to see what their attendance was and things like that. But that's really good for a bunch of fans that are just looking for comics that aren't from the mainstream, So I thought that was great. They had a lot of panels. None of them I was able to attend, but they had a nice panel room set up. I did peek in a couple times because it was kind of near one of the bathrooms. So I popped in. The panels looked great. They had a lot of cool subjects. Got to see a couple of really cool fans that I've known in the past from other shows. Even one from the store I work at, which was cool. Shout out to you, Bob. But yeah, no, it was a great time. Now, usually at these shows, I'm on the, I don't network nearly as much as I should, or take pictures as much as I should. I wish I did. When I'm there, I'm kind of focused on selling my book to people. So I'm at the table a lot. And when I do walk away, it's usually, I do have a purpose, like going to the bathroom or seeing Johnny or, a certain creator, things like that. So I miss a lot of the networking stuff of these shows, but from a creator's side and selling, we did pretty well for a 1-day small show. I usually set a goal for like a 1-day show like this for like $100, but we went above and beyond that, which was really good. We closed in at almost 200, which is good for us, So, and we didn't have any of our, if you've seen us at Comic Cons, we didn't have any of our pop culture stuff that Amy usually brings. We only had original artwork, and we only had my comics basically. And then I had some of my, merch that goes with Mighty Mascots, including some of the new Mighty Mascots soda. So we had that. So that was selling pretty good. And trading cards and, the normal haul I usually bring to the show. It's definitely one of my new favorite shows. And I doubt that any show that I go to for the rest of the year will be as great as this in terms of the creative energy and just connecting with readers, So, but we'll see. The whole year we might run into another great show here and there. I mean, all the other ones like Terrificon and Wicked and things like that are sure to be good. I don't mean to disparage those, but I mean those in terms of like indie creative spirit, things like that. We also came in early. So I mentioned earlier the day before. So we were actually able to attend the Friday night drink and draw, which I never do those events. Like I never usually do the after parties. I'll go to dinner after convention with some of the creators if it's, if it's something that we can swing, because sometimes we got to get out of there because we have a long ride and things like that. But if we don't, I usually like to hang out and just have dinner, but I never go to the after parties or the creator connection. So the drink and draw was kind of new for me. And man, what a great time that was. We got to hang out with Dean Haspel and Whitney Matheson. I think it's just a friend of his. And we got to mingle with a lot of creators. Our friend George O'Connor was with us. We also went to Louis' lunch, which I'll post a video at the end of this so you guys can check that out, that whole experience. And is the place of where the first hamburger was created. So me and Johnny and George and Amy, we went there. We actually bumped into Dean Haspel. That's how we got to know him right away. He was also checking out the first ever hamburger kind of thing. but that was a lot of fun. And then at the drink and draw, we just met a lot of cool people. Got to see Brandon from Comics Wellspring and Apollo City Comics. He was on our show earlier last week. We got to hang with Matt Sardo, the guy that created the Comic-Con, and just met a bunch of creators that night, like Daniel Calban. It was the first time I met him and a few others. One thing I saw at the drink and draw that was pretty awesome, Johnny has a picture of it on his Instagram, was a creator. I wish I knew his name. He was making artwork on an Etch-a-Sketch. And if you ever used an Etch-a-Sketch, that thing is hard to manipulate. But he was making like a really nice portrait with it. I'd never seen anything like that before. I was highly impressed, but he did take a picture. If you go to Johnny C's Instagram, check it out. He has a picture of it from this last weekend. It was super cool. So, and stupid me, because I'm so amateur with these drink and draws, I didn't bring any of my business cards or anything. But most of the people I saw there, I saw the next day, and if they needed anything. We also met Pat O'Malley, who is from California, who became a creator after he had like a viral video that was a huge hit, and really cool stuff. I bought all his books, which I'll show off here in a second. And yeah, so it was a great time. I highly recommend, if you're an indie creator, to go check out this show if it's within your budget, or if you're within the area. I'd say if you're anywhere in New England, you should definitely come, or New York, you should definitely come up for this show. I think you're among peers, and then also you're among consumers that want indie products. So it's a no-brainer, if you ask me, to go to the show. Wanted to shout out some of the great creators we saw this weekend. Shout out to Mark at Wayward Raven. He hung out with us on the drink and draw. Brandon from Apollo City, of course. John O'Burke from Apollo City, which is somebody that I met for the first time. Great kid from Nashua. We'll probably have him on the show. Looks like he had a cool comic that he gave me that I will show off at the end here. Of course, we got Johnny C., Dean Haspiel, and Whitney Matheson were awesome. Scott Harris King, which I got to talk to for a few minutes. He does a great book called Crime Buster, which is an old public domain property, but he also has his original stuff like Quest. Check him out. Ryan Higgins, which I love his artwork and I love his stories. Laser Brain Comics, check those out. Tim Jones, of course, the great Tim Jones with Sour Grapes. Daniel Calban, which I got to meet for the first time. Got to see Jeff Lawrence, who is another great creator that does my show, Plastic City, but he's also been on Indie Comics Relay a couple times. Tony Sedani, who's been on our show, and I met at my first time at Mice was the first time I met Tony. He's great, another great creator. Lots of fellow horror fan. Shout out to you, Tony. Great to see you. I got also Tanner and Travis Ogle, who are the Ogle brothers, who are doing backup story and Mighty Mascots. They were there, chatted with them all weekend. Those guys are great. Love them. Steve Urena, who been on the show, been at Plastic City, saw him at the show as well. Sean Wang, who's got the comic Runners and also worked on the Tick. Great guy. Him and Peggy, love them. Love seeing them at shows. And then also Adam and Makana Walenta, which I didn't get to talk to, but I know them from Terrificon, and they were at Plastic City one year. And they have a comic called Punk Taco, which is amazing. And then just a couple of great, convention people that we see all the time, like Dr. Mask, who's always in our chats on the channel. And then Sir John, who has an awesome comic book radio show based out of Connecticut, I believe. It's great to talk to him, and he loves Honey Flakes, so I always love seeing him at shows. And then, of course, Bob Coleman, who is a customer at the store I work at part-time, who's also trying to break into former indie movie maker, who's also trying to make his first indie comic. And so he came down to check out some of the panels and some of the work that was going on at the show. So always great to see him. And I didn't get a ton of books from the convention, but I did get a handful of them. My budget for buying books is a lot smaller in recent years because I only work part-time now, so can't spend as much, and I don't like spending all our profits on books if I can help it. So I did get a few. I did trade a few. So um I traded a couple with Brandon from Apollo City Comics. So I got this one, Campfire Chronicles, which looks like a horror book, right up my alley. Can't wait to read that one. Another book from Brandon, which is Teenage Babylon. Looks awesome. Cannot wait to read all of these. Just want to check that out. Actually, should show some of the artwork from the Campfire Chronicles as well. Check that out. These all look super cool. Brandon, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy Mighty Mascots. This is another one by Brandon. This is the broadcast dialogues, and look, some of the artwork in there, all from Apollo City Comics. ApolloCityComics.com if you want to check out their books. And Brandon is the guy to talk to at Comics Wellspring if you need some help with printing your book. Also, here is from Ryan Higgins, The Super Society from Laser Brain Comics. I cannot wait to read it. He usually does the art, but he doesn't do it in this one. But it is written by him. I do like his artwork. I do like his properties, and it's just looks like a fun little Silver Age comic book, superhero stuff. So check out Laser Brain Comics and Ryan Higgins. And this is another book from Apollo, but this one is by John Burke, who I mentioned earlier. He's a creator that lives near us in Nashua, New Hampshire. Really cool kid. Got to talk to him. He was right behind us the whole show. Got to talk to him towards the end of the show. And his book is like a Western, but if the world was like this just junk heap of a world. So The Remainders, and he's working on another one coming soon. We may have him on the show down the road to promote his next crowdfunding. This is another cool guy I met that I'd forgotten the shout outs. Frank Fallon. He has a book called Trapped in the Void, and he bought my #1 of Mighty Mascots, so I wanted to check out his book. It wasn't hard to sell me on it since he said it was a cross between Twilight Zone and Quantum Leap. And I was like, well, I'm a huge Quantum Leap fan, so I got to check this out. But it looks great, Frank. We connected on social media, so hopefully we'll have him on the show at some point as well. And yeah, the book looks great. I love the artwork. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and reading all of these books. And the last handful I got was from Pat O'Malley, which is the kid I mentioned earlier, who is from California, was a filmmaker, but now he makes comic books. He had a viral video. His books look really cool. So this one is No H2O. He described it as like a Mad Max kind of comic. It's a hardcover, kind of like that smaller reader-friendly book. It looks really cool. So No H2O. And then also he had Pop Scars. This looks really cool. It's like a kind of like a Hollywood slasher thing, I think. I can't wait to sit down and read all this. Very professionally made. It looks like a nice revenge comic. But so check Pat O'Malley out. And then this is the last one I got from Pat, the Jurassic Parkour 4. Very heavily inspired by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you couldn't tell from the cover. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon. Looks so cool. This is the book that sold me on checking out his work. And not to mention, he's such a great guy as well. So the Jurassic Parkour 4. That was all I got, unfortunately. There was more I wanted to get, but I didn't have, like I said, very limited funds this weekend. So I did get a little handful at least. So, but there's always next year to pick this stuff up. So, but yeah, I encourage you guys to check it out. Indie Comics Creator Con, IC3. Check it out. I'm sure they're going to be doing another one next year, which hopefully me and Johnny will definitely be a part of. And I'll leave you with this. This is the video that Amy, my wife, cut together. We filmed some really short footage of our trip to Louis' Lunch, which is the restaurant that made the very first hamburger. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the video.
Is it really? Everything's turning up, Millhouse. I love that he's wearing his elite. Yeah, look at that. I see that everywhere. Actually, it's too sweet. Too sweet. We are at Louis' Lunch here in New Haven, Connecticut. We're here because I dragged these two poor comic creator gentlemen who are joining me this weekend at IC3 at SCSU here in Connecticut to come here for a burger. But not just any burger, this is allegedly the very first burger in the country. So here we are at Louis' Lunch. Let's go check it out, guys. Yeah. No pets, please. That means I gotta stay outside.
That documentary that Fred Anderson does. Remember, there's like a restaurant guy that only sells like one item. And it's what it reminds me of.
They look at the menu. It's a very simple menu. It's a very simple menu. And the tone, like all that stuff is lost.
Yeah.
Think that.
You know,
Oh, that's good. That's
my
helpful,
instinct
right?
says if you can write about that,
Yeah.
you're good.
Right,
You know?
right.
But I don't know.
A lot better than I actually expected. Rarer than I normally order, but palatable
too.
still,
Yeah.
which was interesting.
It was
And
so rare that the juice looked like ketchup.
yeah, because you're not supposed to order ketchup here. It's actually forbidden. You know what? It actually kind of the rareness
Wasn't
of it.
bad, though.
The rareness of it reminded me of a North Shore roast beef sandwich.
That's actually a good call.
Right, 'cause
Yeah.
the blood
There was
seeped into
something
the
about the
bread.
consistency,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it wasn't like it was dense. It was just like,
No.
oh, it was good. It was good. It was very
There's
basic,
not much
but it was
here
good.
for a vegetarian.
Yeah. Vegetarian. Sorry, you stay home on
The
this one.
menu is just cheeseburger or hamburger.
Did you snap a photo of the menu? Because it's so super simple. There's not a lot to pick from, but it's all very satisfying and good. Like, it's delicious. And we had other comic creators in here that we chatted with. So
that was great.
Yeah.
Tableside chats.
So that's our review
We're
of
gonna
Louis'
continue
Lunch.
at the drink and jaw.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going to the drink and draw, but make sure you follow George O'Connor on Blue Sky and on Twitter.
Thank you.
Yes. I dragged these poor souls down here to eat a really shitty hamburger because I saw it on a travel channel once.